It's the Anfield Wrap in association with The Athletic. I'm Neil Atkinson. We're with you on a Sunday this week, recording on a Sunday. I think we're going to try and get it out today as well, because Liverpool play against Shrewsbury on Tuesday, which we might talk about for 0.3 seconds. But we are going to talk about Liverpool against Southampton. If you want to sign up for The Athletic, it's theathletic.co.uk/the Anfield Wrap, and there's all sorts of reductions on there. Loads of really good writing as well. I'm one of the Athletic journalists, covers Southampton. He's called Carl Anker, and Carl came for a pint with me both before and after the match yesterday, and he was saying how, it might be a little bit tricky for Southampton, a couple of injuries, but they will bring a certain style of play. And for 45 minutes, Ben, they did. I mean, it was the 5-10 going into half time. You feel as though they're on top a tiny little bit, but I felt in the ground, I don't know about you, but I was thinking, well, if they're going to get anything out of this game, when they are on top like that, that's when they're going to have to create and take a chance. And Liverpool did well just to keep them at arm's length. Yeah,
Liverpool did well to get in at 0-0. But Southampton were excellent, I thought. I thought the way they set up, they were almost 4-2-4 at times, with and without the ball, which you just don't see against Liverpool at all. I don't think we've seen it this season. You don't see anyone do that. But they somehow managed to just completely bamboozle us. For them last 10-15 minutes, they were getting chance after chance. The reason was we'd lost our heads. I don't think I've seen us lose our heads in a game for a long time. And I thought we just forgot what to do. We were trying to keep playing, and there was no one to pass to. That doesn't normally happen to Liverpool. They've normally got an out ball. And it was almost... And yet you're right, they did need to get something out of them. That sort of 10-15 minute spell when we were gone a bit berserk, because what Klopp's brilliant at is being able to just reset. And we were talking about it at half time, the lad next to me, and he was saying it's fine because the manager's going to sort out whatever the issue is. He's just going to change it and we'll be boss. And he did, and we were.
I mean, was the lad next to you your lad, by the way? It does feel as though, Kev, just in that little period. The thing was, Ben's right. Whatever they do, and we'll get into it a little bit more, but what they're brilliant at is blocking your passing lanes, so you haven't got a ball. And I thought that's what they did with Liverpool. Liverpool's pass completion across the whole game is only 75%, which for us is low. And I think in the first half, I'll see if I can get the stat, it'll have been lower again. They just made sure Liverpool could not find a pass. And as Ben says, that's really impressive. It speaks volumes for what they're doing and what's so good about it.
It does, and it's... I think I thought they'd done well. I'm not sure the chances that they created were... They were all right chances, but
they weren't significant, were they?
Yeah, they weren't anything where you had your heart in your mouth necessarily. But I think it goes back to what Kobe was saying the other week. We're comparing Liverpool to perfection now. Yeah. That's what we're expecting from them. And my favourite one was the one where the lad's on the edge of the box and he absolutely slams the shot, and Alisson just catches it. Honestly, everyone in our row just started laughing, and I just thought, that poor fella's just put his heart and soul into that shot, and then he's just gone, what am I going to do here? I'm like, how am I supposed to do that? Alisson just passed it down and caught it with one hand. And I just thought, imagine how dispiriting it must be to be a Premier League striker and to see your best efforts just reduced to that. So, listen, they were excellent first half. There was one where we had a goal kick, and they weren't even moving, but they just positioned themselves that perfectly. Hasenhüttl has obviously drilled it into them. This is where you need to be, and it'll work. And Alisson slams the goal kick, and they get the ball back. And I just thought, fair play. That's the first time I've seen that actually work. But even when I was watching that, I just thought, best of luck if you can keep this up for 90 minutes, because imagine how tiring it must be. All that off the ball running, that's when you're at your most tired. When you're just chasing, you're not even chasing a man sometimes, as you say, you're chasing space, you're chasing a passing lane to block that off. And as soon as you get there, they just put it somewhere else, and you've got to keep going and going and going. And for 45 minutes, they done very well, and they created a couple of little chances, but I was never in any doubt that Liverpool would get the job done.
It was Mike. I'm glad they did it, and I'm glad the game went the way in which it went. It made it a better contest. There's been too many sides who've come to Anfield and played dead, but the flip side was, as I said before, even before half time, but certainly when you got into half time, like the fella next to Ben Johnson said, you'd have faith that they were going to be able to pull it together in some way or another, and that's in the end how it plays out.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it's not a surprise to us anymore, because we've seen it so often. Liverpool have a below par first half, second half is miles better. That's credit to Klopp and the team that he's got around him now, including the analysts that can go in and say, there's your space. I know these are playing incredibly well, and it's frustrating that first half. But if you can just keep your head and see where we're pointing out here, the space there, you will get in, and you'll get your chances. Southampton were knackered yesterday at half time.
Yeah,
I think it's almost, as Kev saying, dispiriting that one of your best efforts is caught. And you do sort of think, well, when do we begin to even get a chance here? The Danny Ings one, it's the back of Shane Long as well. it's mad that it doesn't really count as a chance, does it? Because it's been blocked by his own player. But that's probably going in, you know. And you can see Danny Ings sort of being, how's he got in the way of that? Like, what's he done? But Shane Long's running away, like the opposite way, not even looking at him. So it's not really Long's fault per se. But I think little things like that that goes our way, and you sort of need a bit to look like that in a season like we're having at the moment. Because if that goes in, it's a tough end to the first half there. But, you know, I say it goes our way, and we just end up breaking them down. And the goal on 47, you know, it's a great goal, and they're just, well, what do we do now? Because they've also got that, is it a penalty, is it not a penalty thing down the other end? It doesn't end up being a penalty, and then that after that whole first half of effort, to be 1-0 down and tired, you just, I don't know how you would pick yourself back up, and thankfully for us they didn't, and we just carried on and were irrepressible.
The timing of the goal just couldn't be better for us, Ben. Like, Mike's absolutely nailed it there. Not only have we got in, not only have we probably rejigged a few things for us, but as Mike says, they'll be shattered. And then all of a sudden they've come out and there'll be something in the back of their minds, because they're all human, thinking we've had a couple of chances, at least chances for chances, just before the break there, where we could have done with getting something. It'll be playing on the minds. You're not going to get away with this at Anfield. Playing on the minds, 3 minutes in, bang, cop for that.
Yeah, the timing was perfect. And the manner in which they conceded would have knocked the stuffing out of them, because it's one of them, that ball goes out quickly. I think if the Ings goes down, the ball goes out quickly, nothing happens, and it's a throw-in. VAR takes on a whole different spin. They have a different look at it. They're looking at it thinking, hang on, we've got to disallow a goal here to give a pen. I don't want to do that. Is it enough to do that? I'm not sure it is. Could it have been a foul? Yeah. The first ones aren't, but he leaves his leg. His leg's just floating, and you're thinking, and Fabinho does that with his hands, which makes lads don't do that. Yeah. So I think if it doesn't go in, then it might be a different game, and you know, but games change on. I mean, and in fairness to Chamberlain, I thought first half he was poor. I thought the reason he was poor was that 3 or 4 times Liverpool beat their press. They pressed with the 4 high up, and then the 2 centre mids really tight. Chamberlain's getting the ball into feet, and if he turns and he's away, you're in against their underbelly, and there's like 4 of us against 3 of them, whatever, you're in. And time and again he was getting it on the half team, giving it away, and it was killing us, stopping us dead. I thought we played well. Weirdly, Southampton played well first half, but I thought first half now Liverpool done all right, kept the ball, moved about, had the Virgil chance. Should have scored. He just tried to back heel it for a laugh.
Should have also had to pen ourselves as well, by the way.
Yeah, we should have done it in the same move.
Firmino at the back post.
Yeah, we done enough to be, and then we just seemed to go a bit mad. We just lost our heads and stopped trying to play. And I think the one change Klopp made would have reassured them at half time is you've got to take risks. If they're going to press you the way they're pressing you, you've got to be prepared to take a risk on the ball. You can't just pass it. And you've seen that, the one that's the disallowed Salah goal.
Well, I wanted to just do like 5 minutes on that. It's the best goal not scored at Anfield since Luis Suarez.
I can't believe they didn't show it on Match Today.
I know.
They didn't show
it's
it.
The best football of the season.
Yeah. It's the best. It got a stand ovation. Even after it being ruled out, even after VAR didn't give it, it got a stand ovation. And that's all because they took risks. And we started being able to tear them apart because they were sucking them in, popping them off to that, and then turning them round. And for that 15 minutes in the end of the first half, we sort of flapped it and thought, right, no risks. And then because we weren't taking risks, it was risky as fuck. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to give credit to the manager for turning it round, but also the time of that goal was perfect. You couldn't have asked for more. For Chamberlain, I thought that once he'd scored, Chamberlain looked like he was getting in his own head as well. In the first seconds of the second half, he comes down the line by us. It was chasing the ball. It went out for a throw-in. Wasn't his fault, and he was shouting at the top of his voice, going mad, and you think his head's gone. And then the goals, I thought he was much improved second half, to be fair.
The goals just when you get to the angle from behind him, Kev, which I'm sure you've seen this morning, that angle where I think it's, you might tell me otherwise, I think it's bad goalkeeping in that all the goal is broadly speaking covered apart from this one bit, and the keeper's nowhere near that one bit. But it might be that it's just opportunistic from Chamberlain, where he sees this opportunity just to pass/power it into this space and no one's going to be able to touch it. Which is the keeper a bit off? I mean, it doesn't help he dives the wrong way for the Henderson one, which I never like as a look in a goalkeeper, if I'm honest with you.
Brad Jones perfected that one at Old Trafford. I think it's hard with a shot like the Oxlade Chamberlain one, because from that area of the goal, from that area of the pitch, you'd normally expect them to go across the goal, wouldn't you? If you from any sort of normal thing. But if you've done any sort of research into Oxlade-Chamberlain, and he should have had the research done, you know that he slams his shot and they're very straight flying. So, listen, we can slag the goal if you want, but I'm goalies union, so I'm saying it's not his fault.
You say and also you get to talk to the Liverpool player up and say he does brilliantly.
Yeah, well he does as well, doesn't he? Because as you say, he puts it into a space where no one can get to it. The goalie's got a lot of goal to cover, and a shot from 18 yards out or 20 yards out, whatever it was, hit at that pace. You've got to be quick to get over there. Now, Alisson will get there because of his footwork.
He'll be stood in the right place.
Yeah, but most goalies don't. Most goalies' footwork isn't like Alisson's, and that's why he's so good. Because loads of goalies do the thing where they bounce on the toes. Worst thing you can do, because if you're up in the middle of a bounce as he shoots, you've got to wait to land before you can recorrect yourself. You never see Alisson do that. And that's the key to the goalkeeping. Their goalie, what are you going to do? Do you know what I mean? Even if you can be 99% against Liverpool and still come away with a 4-0 against you. So I think it's harsh to blame him. But Oxlade-Chamberlain, we need to stop playing him up the left-hand side of the front three, in my opinion, because it doesn't work for him. He doesn't look comfortable there, and he's at his best, and he was at his best in the first half with the one chance where he picked the ball up in our half and Robertson made a run to his left, and then everyone in the ground was asking him to pass it, and he didn't. He just burst right through their centre, cut across them, and shaped a shooting ladder to bring him down. We got the free kick off it. Oxlade-Chamberlain is one of them players who'll do a job for you wherever you ask him to do it, but he must be desperate to just get at the point of that midfield with Henderson and Fabinho behind him and just say, let me just have 5 games here and I'll show you what I can do.
I think he wants to play a little deeper. I think we did actually play with him a little deeper, Mike, over the course of the game. I think he got to do his work a little bit deeper. And I thought that, for instance, one of the things you saw as an extension of what we saw against West Ham, Firmino pulling left. So Firmino was playing a bit more in the area he doesn't normally get to play in because Mane's so commanding of that space. I thought that one of the reasons why Firmino has the game he has, and I thought he was just magnificent, was he felt, especially in the second half, he could pull that way, drag people that way, get in this area, because Oxlade-Chamberlain didn't really want to be there, and obviously Sadio Mane can't be.
Yeah, look, Sadio Mane is a massive loss, and you can't really replace him like for like with this squad or maybe anywhere in world football at the moment. So to try and be something you're not, it probably would hinder us there yesterday. So I don't know if it was tactical or Chamberlain was just doing it out of natural. I want to be in the middle here. I'm no Sadio Mane.
Or I want to be deeper.
I want to be deeper, yeah. And I think the way that lets us then just sort of. It's like a fluid system ours at the moment. But when we've got the right players on, or any players on the pitch that train together and play with each other, they'll work it out. These are good footballers. So instead of like being told, oh, you've got to do this in such a rigid form, Firmino uses his intelligence to use the space that's not like now there for him. And he's got 15 goal involvements this season, Firmino, and some of them are probably more assist than goals or about level. It's sort of it goes under the radar of, because he's not scored at Anfield yet this season. Everyone's like, oh, Firmino could be doing more, and he did go through a spell where he probably could and should have been doing more. But while you're saying that on the out of it, you're looking properly at it. He's doing all sorts for this team that us as fans will never see on like the first or maybe even the second watch. So like the players he's playing with are obviously very appreciative of it. And the fact that yesterday he just set 3 goals up and has the time of his life without really scoring, and probably, I think he has a chance, doesn't he, second half? I don't know if it's at 3 or 4, I can't remember. I had such a good time. Lots of things were quite fuzzy yesterday. But he deserved the goal yesterday for all of his work and his endeavour and his like, just his will. And he set 3 up there yesterday, and he sort of enables Chamberlain to go and be deeper without impacting the front three in a way. I know I'd always loved to watch Sadio Mane play football, because who wouldn't? But I thought yesterday that's probably one of our better performances. You got Leicester up there, Leicester away, the 4-0. But that second half yesterday, we'll speak about that for long into the summer when we're all having a smile at each other.
There's something about I'm pleased Mike's mentioned Leicester away there, Ben, because it reminds me a little bit the second half, as though Klopp got them in. And the thing what they did when they went to Leicester was go, you're the second best team in the country, are you? Third best team maybe? Watch this. And I thought there was a real element of that in that second half, which was, you've stepped up to us here, fair play to you, but all right then, can you do this? Can you go at this pace? And they're an interesting team, aren't they, Liverpool? We talk a lot about the humility because the graft and Hassan Hootel after the game says one of the big things about this team is they don't underestimate anybody. They take everybody on the merits and they go from there, and he's right about that. But I did get the impression, even little things like Henderson's celebration, he often just goes berserk. He certainly doesn't strut over to Firmino like that, and there was an element of him having a laugh with him. But I did think there was a bit of Liverpool where whatever Klopp's done at half time, I do wonder if part of what he's done for once isn't just a bit of tactical analysis. It's a bit of, they're having a pop at you here, lads. You need to show them. You need to show a little bit here. And I thought he did that against Leicester. Did he do it here?
Yeah, I thought it was a bit needly first half. Southampton are leaving the foot in now and again. They're kicking the ball away every chance they get halfway up into the stand to stop us from being able to build. We were getting frustrated. And we go in at half time having lost our heads, and I think it was a case of you're probably right, someone somewhere's gone, lads, who do these think they are here? These fucking scruffs. Let's show them who we are, let's not forget it. Yet they've done all right, they've had 10 minutes. Okay, we'll have 45 now, and if we get the chance we'll put them to the sword, and we'll keep putting them to the sword. Thought Henderson especially looked affronted by the cheek of them. Do you know what I mean? He looked like, all right, I'm just going to play 4 positions then, because you should do my head in. You should do my head in blocking this space, so we're gonna have 15 men. Right? Sounds. And there was an element of that. Like, they didn't stop. Salah didn't stop, and he looked like it was like, okay, let's teach these a lesson then. All right, let's just because we can't really even afford to knock off or just keep the ball because it's not working, because they're playing well and they're pressing as well. So we're just gonna have to smash them. So should we just smash them? And everyone was like, yeah, go ahead. All right. We're going to wait till knowledge away for the smashing to start. But we'll start today, go ahead.
There was, going into the game, I think, Kev, the selection of Fabinho was interesting, and I think he's tough to watch at times at the minute, and that's in part because you've seen him be so good. And it actually reminds me a little bit of when he first came into the side, going right the way back to the start of the 2018-19 season, where he'll have 5 minutes where he looks what he is, which is an imperious centre midfielder, and he has 5 minutes where he just looks a bit like his sea legs have gone, and it's a strange thing to watch, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think of sort of comparisons with players coming back from injury, because it just is so wobbly, and I can't quite work out, is it a little bit of a confidence thing, a little bit of the other lads getting used to him being back in because we've changed a little bit thing. I can't quite work it out in that. We know he's the best holding midfielder in the world, so there's no discussion or debate on that front, but you are sort of thinking, can you get yourself back here pretty soon? Because we are going to need you in the next 3 months.
I think he will come back, and I'm not overly worried about it. I think he's come in and he's had the 6 months where we didn't really see him and people are questioning him. And then he comes and shows to be the best midfielder in the world. And then he gets an injury. And he's only been back in the team. He comes back into the Shrewsbury game, which was a nightmare for everyone who played in it effectively. He played, 10-15 minutes against West Ham, something like that. And he started yesterday. So if you look at it and just put it down to minutes on the pitch, he hasn't even had 180 minutes yet. So I think 2 weeks off now, probably he might be the only player that doesn't help really, because he's just coming back. He could do it getting a little bit of rhythm back. But it wouldn't surprise you if maybe they said to him, here's a little plan for you to have a little look at some things and maybe concentrate on these while you're doing whatever, like little bits of training we've asked you to do. But when he comes back in, you'd imagine he's looking at games like Atletico Madrid and thinking, they're the ones I want to show what I can do in. And it's one of those things where you've just got to persevere. And we're fortunate enough to be in a position where we can persevere with him having a game like he did yesterday and still beat a very, very good team 4-0. So I think once he comes back from his break, and maybe another couple of games where you might see a little bit of rustiness in him, it's one of them where we'll just have to take it. It's
massive for him to get 90, isn't it, Mike? I think that'll be. I think they were doing everything they could to keep him on the pitch. If Liverpool hadn't taken the chances that they'd taken, there's a chance I think he might have gone off on 70-75. But as it is, with the cushion that we end up with on 72 minutes of 3-0, I think the manager then has decided you're getting a full 90 here. You're going to get that experience back in your legs.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if Southampton go 1-0 up, he's the first change, isn't he? Because that's the easiest thing to do. You can want minutes in his legs all you want, but if that game's an uphill battle, the easiest thing to do would be, right, well, we'll go back to what we've known for the past 10-11 games. I was made up that he got the 90, to be honest, because as everyone's saying, he's one of the best centre mids in the world, if not the in his position when he's absolutely on it. And I think yesterday will probably go a long way for him getting confidence, because he's got through that. I remember the Arsenal game he had where he was all over the place, and we draw 1-1. He's not really in himself properly yet, and he's all over the place in spells, and yet we've won 4-0. I think it's going to go now. Everyone's going to have a winter break. Read into that what you want. The whole FA Cup thing as well. You know, Klopp saying we will respect this winter break. I don't think Fabinho will. I think if they're not in Melwood, he'll be out running every day, probably Fabinho, just to keep his fitness and sharpness up, because he'll want to come back and hit the ground running for Norwich. And it sort of reminds me a little bit of Gomez, you know, even though he wasn't out for as long as Gomez. Gomez doesn't have a wobbly time when he comes back, and now look at Gomez like he's the best centre-half that is outside of Van Dijk, maybe getting towards being on the same level as Van Dijk at some point in his career. If it's not this season, it'll be the next 18 months of his career. Definitely is a superb defender who also had a lot of ring rustiness and managed to get that out of him. And, you know, I'm sure Fabinho will be very capable of doing the same thing. It's
a change for Gini and Jordan as well, I think, isn't it, Ben? I think they play quite close together without Fabinho, a little closer than anyone does to Fabinho when he's playing in there. They've had to change a little bit as well, and I thought that Wijnaldum had a tough first half too yesterday, where he couldn't quite work out. I felt like where's he meant to be? And then on top of that, then he's playing the same side as Oxlade-Chamberlain. That's the no Mane side, and he was sort of caught between these two little bits of disruption.
I think what we're trying to do with Gini and Chamberlain yesterday was Chamberlain comes in, he starts high, comes in for feet. Wijnaldum goes, and they take the same. Firmino goes once, Wijnaldum stays. It's basically to make them think, I don't know where you're going to be. Effectively, if we're all moving at different times, we know what we're going to do. We know what the structured play looks like. You don't, but it just weren't working. We just couldn't get in it. And he'd leave, he'd empty his position and go and show Ox, get it to feet, and then lose it, and then there's a big hole. You think, fucking hell, where's Gini? He's like, well, I've just made the run where I'm meant to be. No one's passed to me, for fuck's sake. I thought he struggled a bit, Gini, but then you're right. I think it's just going to take time to first off for Fabinho. It's time in his legs, and it's that ability. And plus, couldn't have picked a worse team to play against. You plonk him in there against the team who want to leg you all day long. They've probably had a big think about why they've done it as well. And like, okay, you will need to get some sharpness and get against these, because they're going to leg you, and they're going to not stop running. You're going to need to be on your game. You're going to need to find a way. I actually thought he played all right for 20 minutes, and he played all right for the last half an hour, maybe the last 40 minutes. Just that spell in the middle. But that sort of correlates when Liverpool went a bit mad. We just lost our shape. Everyone was miles away from everyone. No one knew exactly where to be, and we just sort of stopped playing footy. I think he'll be absolutely fine. He'll be flying again in a few weeks. But it just makes you feel, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Because Henderson's been that good. We've conceded that few goals in the time for being out. When he was going out, everyone's flapping, thinking, Christ almighty, what are we going to do? And Henderson has since become the best footballer on the planet for 10 weeks and is now unbelievable. And you do think, everyone's looking thinking, well, hang on, we used to be the best, now it's him. And look, what a problem to have. What a problem to have who plays where. When out of them two midfielders, then you've got Wijnaldum, who's also flying as one of the best midfielders knocking about.
Kite comes on, looks good.
Yeah, it's just it's an embarrassment to riches, and it's a joy to behold.
Henderson, at the minute, is a joy to behold, Kev. It's some second half performance from him. I mean, you can ever so slightly, it's a goal, it's an assist, but it's everything else. It's the work rate, the coming right the way across the pitch, the closing everyone down, the deciding to just be constantly available. I think that's the thing which Ben was saying before. He almost plays 4 positions in the end, because I've got to be an option for everyone then. I'll just be an option for everyone all the time, because we haven't got enough options. I'll step into that role. He also just looks like he's enjoying himself so much. You do get the impression, I don't think he's a vain person, but I suspect he likes hearing his song. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And it's a belter as well, I think. It's the right thing for the captain like that. I'm just so pleased for him at the moment. At some point there will be another speed bump for him, I think, because to keep going at this intensity all the way through till May, it will be 8-9 months of sheer unbelievable intensity. Maybe he'll manage it, but it wouldn't surprise me if at some point he does have a dip, but he's not having one at the minute.
I disagree with you. I don't think he will have a dip. I think he's one of them fellas who he's had to battle and work that hard to get the recognition he now gets from the cop, effectively, because half the people on the cop used to think he was shite, and there was no bones made about it. It wasn't, I don't really think it's nice shiting. All he does is pass it sideways, and now it's doubted to believers for him. I think towards the end of this season, you'll see him grow and grow and grow, because the thing is, he'll know, like you just said there, John, if he has a dip Fabinho can just step in, no problem. Wijnaldum is pretty much a guaranteed starter there. If Milner gets back in, Keita looked alright when he come on. There's too many people there for him to be where he is, to drop at any level where he thinks, shit, if I get out the team, because as you just made the point there, Fabinho was the best midfielder in the world 10 weeks ago, and now we're thinking, do we really want to be starting him, even though he's back to full fitness? And I just think Henderson will have that in his own mind, and as you said, I think he's enjoying it too much to risk it going, and he's on the verge of, I put yesterday on the Twitter, Jordan Henderson, Liverpool legend, and he is, because he's lifted the European Cup, he's going to lift the Premier League as well. But if he can go and lift another European Cup as well, and these are all things which are in our grasp in the next 12, 14 weeks, something like that. I just don't see where he takes his foot off the gas. And the point you make about him being always available, that's a Graham Souness thing now. There's loads of instances, if you read back on Graham Souness, people saying no matter what else he was doing on the pitch, he was always available to take the ball off whoever was with the least confidence. So that, I can't remember who the player was, but he played his first international game next to Souness. He was right back and Souness was centre mid, and he said, I had a nightmare 10 minutes. He said, and then for the next 10 minutes, every time I got the ball, Graham Souness was 5 yards away from me and took it off me, while at the same time still running the rest of the game. And Henderson's doing that now. He's taking the responsibility on, and where sometimes you'd see people take that responsibility and it weighs them down like you wouldn't believe, it's made him into an absolute giant, and he's everywhere.
This is just come back to you on that, Kev. I think that's what you see yesterday. For instance, we've said in the past, a lot of what he does, certainly that right-sided position, it's to help get Trent into the game more and do some of Trent's work for him. It's to allow Salah to push right up the pitch and so do some of the work in that area for him. The thing about yesterday, and also come and help Fabinho as and when, the thing about yesterday was he was doing all that, and there's a goal and there's an assist, and there's the fact that he felt like the game, along with Firmino and Salah, the three of them felt like the game's second half's dynamic attacking force. And that, to me, if he's adding that on top of doing this water carrying he's doing for these other people, which he was still doing, by the way, then it just takes your breath away.
Well, that's it. Loads of players can do loads of them things you've just said there individually. There's not many players in the world that can do all of them together in one half of football. And it's in fact, it's not even just one half of football, it's every game with him now. He literally does all of those things. And the Fabinho thing, when he come in and he basically took the number 6 role off him, I think at the time everyone was a bit like, yes, that's probably the best thing, because it wasn't working out well for Henderson there. But what he done was he went to the manager and said, listen, play me further forward in that right-hand side role. And it wasn't even a real role. He's made that role his own. But what he added straight away was that cross, the sort of whipped cross to the back post, which he's taken to another level now. So he's added the assists and creativity to his game. And again, it all goes back to the confidence. Like the way he took a shot yesterday. He's in the box, and he's not a man who scores a lot of goals. And the goalie's expecting him to put it where everyone else is expecting him to put it. And he just basically sits the goalie down and just strokes it home. Has a lovely time with Firmino. He's a man, honestly, he's just a man who he hears a song going, and he must feel 100 foot tall, and rightly so, because he's getting the love that he now deserves. And fucking hell, what a player!
What a player, and Mike. It's also the general sort of leadership piece as well. You know, he was. Him and Van Dijk were issuing some bollockings first half, it's fair to say, which didn't look like a battle of laughs to me. It was one of them where I was thinking, Christ, I'm glad I'm not playing here. I'd be absolutely...
I'd be getting bollocked here.
Yeah, I will be getting a strip torn off me. But him and Van Dijk, I think, in the same way that, for instance, I'm going to come on and talk to everyone about Salah because he's incredible. You know, Salah is incredible. Van Dijk is incredible. Henderson is a little bit more of a human, if you know what I mean, than the gods are. But he is the one who demands the standards all the time on the pitch from absolutely all of them over and over again.
I think it really helps Henderson a lot that he's been through a lot with the club at the moment. He's the longest serving. Yeah. I think he starts the decade with us. You know, he's been through the whole range of emotions as a Liverpool player, of being taught as he's not good, of too much money, you know, not getting the credit he deserves. You know, in 13-14, he gets sent off against City. We probably win the league, as has been said by his manager and a few players of that team. If he's not sent off in that game, stays on, I don't think the Chelsea game happens the way it does, because literally he's there to take, when Gerrard's in trouble, he takes Gerrard's, you know, trouble away from there. He's covering Gerrard's slip, or he's taking the ball off Gerrard. He's gone through that, and he's developed as a person. He's had some real off-pitch things as well. You see it in the hug with his dad after the Madrid final, the emotion of it, and everything that he went through with his dad. That, I think it was that season, actually, 13-14. He's really grown and developed as a player, and now people are starting to see the things he's doing on the pitch more for what they were. I don't know for what reason, why they're only just seeing it now. I think it's maybe because everyone else around him is sort of amplifying it and magnifying it on the pitch. That's Henderson's ball, or Henderson's pressured him to make him lose the ball. So he's definitely really, really getting what he deserves. And I think the Wolves game the other week, where it's a goal and assist again in that game for him, will be where a lot of people have woken up to Jordan Henderson. And I know he's been fantastic since Fabinho went out. He's been really, really at a top level for 18 months now. And I'm just like, I couldn't be happier for him, to be honest, because he deserves everything he's getting now for all that he's gone through and all that he's had to put up with. A bit like Lucas, at the start of Lucas's career, he was another one who sort of got maligned and come through it and really put himself out there and took loads for the club. And Klopp, when Klopp comes in, Lucas is still there, and he trusts Lucas. I think Klopp really trusts Henderson because he's still got the armband now. He's playing him every week, and he's asked him to do roles like he's played right back, he's played number 6, he's played centre half for and he's done everything. And I don't think Klopp asks another player if he doesn't rate him as highly as he does Henderson.
Absolutely. There's just a little thing, but almost apropos of nothing, but not really. The 15-16 season review was playing in the Albert before the match. I was in there with Steve Graves and my cousin Alex, and we're watching it. And so much of, firstly, it's probably it's probably the biggest, maddest season to have supported Liverpool where they've not won a trophy, because there's a lot going on all the way through. But also the other thing is that when that Klopp side's beginning to come together in these little highlights packages, so many of the goals involve Henderson. He gets a few more than you remember, but also he's at the centre of loads and loads of things that are happening in a way that sort of looks a bit similar to now. And it just sort of struck me before the game, and then he goes and throws that performance in that maybe even then, because he gets an injury around sort of February, March, and it all begins to, he disappears a little bit. He's only on the bench in the Europa League final, can't get on because his fitness is nowhere at that point. And anyway, it just sort of struck me that maybe it's been in the manager's mind for a while that he can do this sort of stuff. Ben, I want to talk about Mo Salah. He gets 2, but he's just, you mentioned it before, he's downright unplayable. And if anything, now he's, and we've got to be careful because these things oscillate all the time, but as far as I'm concerned, he's now underrated.
It's mad, isn't it?
There isn't a player in the country who gets as much. I was saying, I don't even, I might have said it on the pink, or I might have said it afterwards, having a chat, talking shite. But there's not for instance, Sergio Aguero does not get the Mo Salah treatment. He's a brilliant player, Aguero, but people don't have a Sergio Aguero plan. People don't even seem to really have a Raheem Sterling plan to compare with Manchester City, whereas everyone, it seems like, comes to town with a great big Mo Salah plan, and every week he works the Mo Salah plan out and ends up being the most dangerous footballer on the pitch.
He's too fast, he's too strong, and he's too fucking skillful. So you're trying to stop him. Normally, if you're looking at one of them, you've got a chance on one of them. Do you know what I mean? He's brilliant. He's fast and he's strong, but he's a bit of a pudding. So you get it to his feet, I'll pinch it off him. He can do everything. It's mad the way people sort of saying, he's a one-trick pony. He's had that one season and he's just all right. You're like, he's not. He's unbelievable. He's such a threat. He never stops running, and that's the thing, isn't that? It's all well and good running one way, and it's all well and good when everything's going well, but he's the first to graft when we lose the ball and get back. You see him popping up all over. He's just an example to anyone who wants to aspire as a footballer. They should look at what he does, because he's incredible. The work rate with and without the ball is unbelievable. But then it's not just that. He's so fast. His movement's so clever. His ability to hold the line when he's in, because he's that quick. The one that gets disallowed for offside, I don't think it's him. I think the ball should come a little bit quicker. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think they delay the pass and he's looking at him going, lads, is he? It's amazing to me. And, people, Mane's an incredible footballer, and people, everyone's now saying he's the best attacker in the world and this, that, the other. I don't think he's better than Mo Salah. I just don't. I just think Mo Salah's unbelievable. And people, you're right, people come up with a plan, and a lot of the time he's got 3 fellas hanging off him.
I was going to say, the plan is just fucking assault him.
Crowd him out, stop him running, and his ability to keep the ball. And then he started doing that little mad thing where he sort of just rolls it back and forwards whilst holding 2 fellas off. It's like a fucking Russian dance. Yeah. And no one can get it. He's done it in the lead up to Firmino's goal. He's done it again yesterday. He's done it yesterday for about 10 minutes. And everyone was like, lads, just pass it to our lads. Yeah. He's incredible. He's an incredible footballer. And, the threat he poses, if teams set up to try and block him, there's so much space created by him, and he's just an unbelievably intelligent footballer, and his movements is just so clever. He's perfect.
His height, because he comes from the side he comes from, Kev, and because he's left-footed, people make the messy comparisons. To me, as a footballer, what he does on the pitch, he's more like Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah. The strength, the power, the pace, combined with the skill. You know, he's not an absolute. What I always like about him is he's not an absolute artist. He's a grafter. In the same way that Ronaldo, whatever you think about him off the pitch or think about him in general, the one thing he's never shirked on a football pitch, Cristiano Ronaldo. He everything he can do, he does. And I think you see the same with Mo Salah. You get the impression he lives this idea of, you know, he's desperate for victory, desperate for his own personal glory as well, but desperate for victory, and I think it's to his credit.
Yeah, 100%. The ability to play football like Messi is sort of, I don't believe in God, but God-given would be a good way of putting it, because it's just whatever it is that he's got, it's just in him. I've no doubt he works very hard to improve, obviously, but the likes of Mo Salah, you look where he's come from and where he is now, he's, as you said there, John, he's probably the best. He probably is the best attacker in the world, and he's underrated now because of where he's come from with the 44-goal season, where he just blew your mind type of thing, and the fact that Mane is having such a good season. It's a little bit similar to the way people talk about Van Dijk. Like, it sounds mad to say Van Dijk's underrated because he's not. Everyone knows he's the best centre half in the world, but still, people will say, like, I think Joe Gomez has been our best centre half for the last 6 months, and they don't mean that in a bad way. What they're trying to say is Joe Gomez is fucking unbelievable, but what we're really saying is he's playing to 80% of the standard that Van Dijk is. That's what we mean, isn't it? Like, it's a lovely problem to have. Salah, fucking, when he's in the mood he was in yesterday, for me was the perfect mood, because against Wolves the other week I was a little bit critical because that was a game that was in the balance, and twice he took on shots that he should have passed. But it's one of them things where you can't criticise a player like that for being selfish, because that is what gives him the fear factor for the teams. Loads of players are getting in positions and he will pass, but teams know shit, I don't think he is going to pass here. So that when he didn't do it against Wolves, especially the Minamino one and the Oxlade-Chamberlain one, I was like, for fuck's sake. I felt he was a little bit more personal glory than Liverpool glory at that point, but then yesterday he was falling over himself to try and set Minamino up when he come on, wasn't he? So he's got it all in his locker, but when he plays like he did yesterday, where you don't know whether he's going to pass or whether he's going to shoot, and when he's running with the ball, you just think, fucking hell, like, literally you see centre-halves who've got hold of him by the throat, and he's dragging them along. Like the little legs are like trying to get a grip on the pitch, and you just think, how are you doing that? Because he's fucking tiny in reality, isn't he? These big areas.
When he took his top off the other day.
He's an absolute beast. And he plays like that as well. He plays like a fucking animal. Like, I'm coming through you. If I can't go around you, I'm going through you, and I don't give a fuck how big you are, because you're mine. The thing he's doing, as you said, where he's rolling it back and forwards and all the centre halves off, is a proper piss take. Like, two fellas who weigh combined 30 stone, and he's like that. Dickheads.
It's mad though, because you look, I just think it shows his mentality. You look what happened to him in the European Cup final. Ramos has him off on strength, does his shoulder, and so here we are 18 months later, you're going to try that again, are you? Look at the fucking size of me now, mate, I'll snap your neck for you. And that's the thing, is like, okay, I've got a flaw. What's my flaw? I'm probably not strong enough and I can get shoved off a ball. Right, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to build like Popeye and a body, do you know what I mean? And he's now, you can't get him off the ball. If he doesn't want to, you can't get near him, and it's clever from him, and it shows the will to win and the will to be the best.
The Daniel James goal last week, you just reminded me about that one as well. The goal against United, Daniel James is absolute. That's all he's got. Yeah, he's like shit off a shovel, and he's actively trying to get hold of Salah, and Salah's not even really holding him off. He's just running ahead of him. It's like a man against a boy. He's like, fucking idiot. And then he slots the goal, and he's got all of that in his locker. But the fact that he is as quick as Daniel James, but he's as powerful as Virgil van Dijk, how the fuck do you stop that?
I'm not going to ask you how you stop it, Mike. Firstly, don't expect you to know. Secondly, if you do know, I don't need to tell anyone. So I'm not going to ask you that. There is a thing with him, I think, where, you know, I expect him to actually, I think he's growing into this season, and I wonder if that's deliberate from Liverpool. Firstly, he had the injury as well in the first half of the season, but also I do wonder whether or not Liverpool have maybe done a little bit of periodisation with some of these lads, where they're going to want them all to come to the boil at different times, and especially from now. And I'm just so excited to see him play again against Norwich, against Atletico, I'm expecting, I don't want to put any pressure on him here, but he will be expecting himself as well. I'm expecting great things from now until the end of the season from Mo Salah. I'm expecting unbelievable numbers. I'm basically expecting him to win us the European Cup.
I think we're peaking. I think we're starting to peak from now till May. I think we've had some sort of training diddle in January where we've absolutely pasted them again. Still won all the games, pasted them and said, right, you've got your conditioning and the fitness now for the rest of the season. I think the second half yesterday sort of hints at us starting to just absolutely wipe the floor with teams, and long may that continue. I think Mo Salah, look, I can be very biased about this because I think he's a great fella,
Because your mate's just
saying your mate.
Because he's my mate. I sometimes hold my praise back for Salah just because I don't want to get beat with that brush. Like, he's your mate, but I think he is phenomenal. I think I said the other day as well, like Kev said before, underrated. You said as well, underrated. I don't know why so underrated. I almost feel as if, is it a Liverpool thing? If it was someone else, if it was a London team, if it was a Barca or Real Madrid, would he be this underrated with the numbers he's got? He's on 12 for the season in the league this year. He got 22 last year. Got 32 in his first.
He's on 14 now in the league.
He's on 14 in the league?
Yeah, those two put him to 14.
Well, he's going to get 20 plus again this season, which is a third one. I remember it at some point in his first season when Harry Kane's losing the golden boot to him. Harry Kane sort of says a bit bitterly, yeah, let's see if he does it again next year. And he does and goes, well,
how's
go
that
ahead.
worked out for you, Harry?
Out for you? I'll score 22 this season and I'll score 20 the next season. And while I'm doing that, I'll win the European Cup one year. And he's in a team where we're unstoppably marching towards, thankfully, what will be our first title in 30 years. Hopefully more trophies on the bag this season. I've seen teams with Suarez in over Liverpool and Gerrard and Torres, and you think, how'd you stop them? And then when you've got that question about Salah, which also includes a team of Roberto Firmino, Sadio Mane, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Andy Robertson, like, you've got 11 players to play against 11 players, and it almost feels like they need about 15 just to be able to go, I'll tell you what, we'll be all right for an hour here. But even then, we'll probably break them down.
Last little one to focus on, I want to mention is Firmino. A little bit more I talked about him, Ben, getting to pull into the space that Mane leaves earlier. But just in general, his appetite for it. The only shame yesterday was he didn't crown it with the goal because of this mad he hasn't scored at Anfield all season thing. I'd like to think that's not bothering him now because he's now getting more than enough key goals away from home. But regardless of that, he was worthy of a goal yesterday. He was worthy of scoring the goal to make it 5-0, or what would have been the 5th goal in the game in the half. He was different class.
Yeah, he was fantastic. He was everywhere, and his ability to keep the ball for Chamberlain's first is ridiculous, isn't it? The little back heel, because Chamberlain's passed to Robertson's shite. He puts it out. Robertson does really well to keep it in, and then the little flick from Firmino. But he's just enjoying himself, and he just looks like he's having a boss time. And he's everywhere again. He had that little patch at the start of the season where he looked a bit leggy. Middle of the season, he looked and you're thinking, oh God, is he fucking knackered? Because he's played a lot of footy and he's ran a lot in the footy that he has played. But he's back now. He looks like he's flying again. He's it's the timing of him coming to the fore. You just don't see how this team aren't going to start roasting people. Do you know what I mean? You don't see how they don't go to Norwich and beat them by fucking 4 or 5 again, and then. You can talk about all of them, can't you? That's the mad thing. They're all so good. You could do half an hour on each and every one.
I'm just thinking there. Firmino's my favourite player, and I've just spoken about Van Dijk and Salah, so it sounds like a sycophant. You know what I mean? I love him. But I fucking love them all. I absolutely love them all. But Firmino was the one. I've never seen a footballer take more delight in helping other footballers. They're all selfish, and that's why they're top footballers. Somehow he isn't, but he's fucking absolutely magic on the ball as well. You could literally just sit and watch a compilation of him for days, because his touches, his little turns, but also his vision. The way he done one yesterday where I can't even remember who he passed it to, but he passed it into a space that he wasn't looking at, and as far as I knew, he wasn't even there. Yeah. Someone just comes straight onto it, and I just thought, he knows how to do that because he's magic. There's no other explanation for it. It's not saying, it's just magic.
It is magic. I'm happy with that. I think it's the best way to explain most things in modern life, to be honest with you, Kev. The internet's magic. Roberto Firmino, magic. Yeah. Everything is best just to sort of say it's magic, and then we don't have to worry about it anymore. There is, Mike, you were just saying about where we are now on the table, I mean, it's outrageous, to be quite honest with you. I have to look at it. I'm going to look at it literally right now and just pair. Liverpool sit, it's amazing, isn't it, Kev?
Fucking unbelievable.
24 wins from 25, 1 draw, 73 points, 22 clear of Manchester City, who, if I was Raheem Sterling, I wouldn't even want to get on the bus to London today.
It's going to be horrible, innit?
Yeah.
You're going to get booted all over.
Yeah, it's one of them where the City really do need to do one of their City classic first 10 minutes, because if not, Tottenham are going to make that the biggest grind you've ever seen in your life. I reckon, Mourinho spent the week teaching them how to not take throw-ins. It's all to come for City today. But it is like 22 points is just unheard of, Mike.
It's never going to happen ever again, this. Like, we are currently witnessing absolute greatness. 100 points out of the last 102, 73 out of 75 this season. You know, if it does ever happen again, it's this team and this players that are going to do it because we've done it. And this run's not over, by the way. You know, Norwich will be an interesting game because a bit like Southampton, they just won't give a fuck. Like,
they'll just play their way, won't they?
They'll just play their way, and you know, it worked well. Southampton 45 minutes, but they were knackered. So, you know, let's. If I'm a Norwich player, I'm thinking, I might have a tight hamstring here for a couple of weeks. I'm not looking forward to this. Absolutely, you know, throwing me guts into this game and then losing 4, 5, even 3 maybe, just and getting away with it. I'm just absolutely delighted that I'm alive at the right time. I know we've gone through a lot of, isn't it long, 30 years. Look, I'm 27. I've only been around for 27 of them 30 years. So I'm peaking at the right time.
Like Liverpool this season. Mike Kearney and Liverpool this season. Peaking at the right time.
Yeah, I'm peaking to watch the greatest side that we may ever see. And this football, you know, it's a continual thing. It'll still be going on long after we're gone. But I'm telling you what, I'll have a safe bet now that no one's going to do 100 points out of 102 of the last available. And God knows what it'll end up being this season. 73 out of 75. You wouldn't bet against it being 90, would you? Out of 92 or 90, like 91 out of 93. You can't even get 90 out of 92.
That was good. Quick match, that. Don't worry.
Really impressed with Mike there.
The fun cat of words,
It is, Ben, it is watching the greatest thing you're ever going to see. And it's, you know, I'm watching it and I'm just awestruck. You know, yesterday when they go and make it 4-0, I was so pleased they make it 4-0 the way in which they do. But it was like getting to put another tin hat on what is just brilliance, because this is just absolute ongoing brilliance.
It is, and no human men can stop these people. Do you know what I mean?
Send on the walls from Mars, mate.
That's a creative fucking virus. They've knocked one up in the jungle. Someone's done that. I mean, I can tell you if it is. It's the manager United. It made that. I'm pet. That's the only thing that's going. I'm petrified of it.
I know you are.
I know.
I can't believe it's taking you this long to mention.
I know, lads. I'm Pete Stephen. But I just like as an act of, you know, make sure you wash your fucking hands.
We've all got to do our bit for this league title.
Don't touch your face. Wash your hands before you eat. Never touch your face. Get a mask. After I've got some masks. Stock up on food. But honest to God, that's the only thing that can stop us.
Everyone
gets it. Loads of people died to call the games off.
The worry is... No. The worry is... Putting that to one side for a second I was about to say, how aren't they going to win the European Cup? And there's only 2 ways I think they're not going to win the European Cup. I think Paris Saint-Germain could possibly do something against them because they've got all that pace on the counter. Or there's a mad diddle where we're just going to be diddled.
I'm concerned there's a diddle. I'm concerned there's an Atletico diddle where we go out without getting beat. We draw both games.
They've been crap as well, so it would be them, wouldn't it? Like,
but they're very good at drawing. They're good at set. And lads, I know. I've got a feeling.
Yeah, I'm just not having it.
I've got a diddle feeling.
They've got a brilliant goalkeeper who saves things.
So have we, though.
Oh yeah.
We're not saying that they're a better side. I'm just saying there's a I just got a feeling there's a diddle.
You've got to think their goalie's the second best goalie in the world, but we've got the best one, right? But as we said before, you can be 99% perfect against Liverpool and get 4 put past you.
Put yourself in the Atletico fans' position, right? If we're all Atletico fans going into this game, how many goals do you reckon we've got to score against this Liverpool team to get through? Over 2 legs, like it's upwards of 3.
It's a fair point.
And the other thing is, don't forget, if they do come with a plan and make it that difficult, Klopp is the best in the world at making a change that affects a game in play. Or at least at half time. How many times have you seen it where the first half and you think, we need to do something different here? You said it yourself about yesterday's game. Klopp has... I'm giddy with fucking 22-point leads and all that at the moment, but I said the same thing yesterday, Neil. No one's talking about the European Cup yet because we're all so excited about the league. Yeah. But if we beat Atletico Madrid, imagine anyone drawing us, you'd just go for fuck's sake.
No one wants us.
When's the next game after Atletico? I know it's February and March.
It's the other side of the international break in March,
April.
so it's April.
So that's more league games done, isn't it?
If it's still going by, if footy's still going by then, the coronavirus hasn't took hold, then I'll be made up with that, because it means we're going to win the league and everything's fine and not millions of people haven't died. So that'd be sad.
That's your order of events. Last little thing, Kev, is Shrewsbury. It's going to be mad, to be honest with you. I'm looking forward to getting in the ground and it just being a bit crazy. I'm going to go, yeah. I'm looking forward to going in the ground and it just being, you're not bothering?
Nah,
I've got me tickets.
Paul Hogan needed a pair and I was like, oh, go on, lads, I'll see you this favour. So he took mine and me mate to pay for it.
Is that for him and his lad?
No, well, I think he is taking his lad, but it's for some other sucker who wants to go, so...
You're not up for it?
Listen, that Villa game, when we got beat 5-0, was never a 5-0 game. Them kids are good kids, but by the same token, Shrewsbury are a League One side. They've played League One sides in the, what's it called, the FL Trophy or whatever it was. They didn't do well, you know what I mean? I think the style of play with which we play is very much a Premier League style of play. Yeah. So they might be in for a bit of a rude awakening, I think. Listen, Premier League quality tells against smaller teams, lower league opposition, but these are not Premier League quality. These are the children of Premier League quality football teams. So, listen, don't get me wrong. If you hadn't asked me for the ticket, I'd have been going. I'll be watching it. But I just...
Can I have mine, lads, if you want us to do?
Nah, you're alright. but listen, the thing is...
Absolute pricks, the pair of you.
Listen, these kids, it's a boss thing for them. But at the same time, people should be realistic about what you're going to watch and what we're... Don't be expecting these kids just because we're Liverpool to be leather and Shrewsbury. But by the same token, if I was the kids, I'd be thinking, we fucking leathered Aston Villa for a second half period there, so we've got a chance. And listen, you've always got to fight this chance, haven't you?
I'd be thinking I'm going to shove it down these pair of ball pricks' faces about the kids, shove it right down the throat. I'd be pinning these comments on the dressing room wall if I was Neil Critchley.
I'd happily have Neil Critchley shove stuff into my mouth if we got to play Chelsea in the next round. That'd be fine.
Excellent stuff, like Ted DiBiase. Mike, do you think it's going to be all very, very difficult for them? Do you think there is a way home for them, or do you think it might just be like Villa, where certain moments of essentially maturity will tell for Shrewsbury against this Liverpool side?
I don't think it'll be exactly like Villa. I think Villa have the second goal of Villa is a fluke. Yeah. It's a cross, and Mad goes in. One's a set piece where you sort of expect it at that level. The Checkatrade trophy, that it was like Oldham, Accrington and Fleetwood. It was sort of set piece goals that they were conceding out on, and like the physicality, which is, you know, a massive difference between kids and grown up men who just like play football in actual leagues for a job. I don't think it's got to be that young, you know. I think it's the under-23s for definite, isn't it? And there's obviously going to be you know, some of the kids that maybe played against Villa, but I'm not sure where Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones. It
looks like Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones are going to play.
So I'm sort of alright with that, you know. I think
I'm very alright with that. Shirafella's playing.
Shirafella, oh, we're going to win. We'll win 3-0.
John, them tickets still going, lads?
I think we'll be alright, you know. I don't think we're going to struggle as much as people are anticipating. I think it's just the fact that minutes after the final whistle and it's a draw and everyone's putting on, oh, we've got to replay, and Klopp just comes out and goes, well, we're not going, mates. So everyone starts panicking about that and thinking, oh, it's going to be 5-0 again, it's going to be 3-0, 4-0, whatever. I think it'll be a decent, you know, a decent game. I think we're at home. We've got more, you know, all these kids are going to be playing for some of them in you know, in front of the biggest crowds they have done for a while, and at the same time we've still got Chiravella,
exactly,
Harvey Elliott, quite a good footballer. I you know, look at the goal. I don't know, has everyone seen that goal?
It's unbelievable,
unreal.
Like, he can do that on a football pitch, you know. So that, you know, I reckon we're going to score at least 1 or 2. I'm
with you 100% is right, Mike. That is exactly the attitude to go into. Ignore these two. Absolutely ignore them. They're just they're jealous of Harvey Elliott's Barnet.
I'm jealous of everyone's Barnet.
Thank you very much to Kev Welsh, Ben Johnson, Mike Kearney. It's been the Anfield Wrap in association with The Athletic. Do sign up if you get the opportunity to do so. Enjoy yourselves. Let's all get stuck into Shrewsbury. Let's at least have a fantastic Tuesday night.